I would love to introduce to you Dan Walkowitz with LeTip of Arapahoe County in Colorado. I almost said California, excuse me, Colorado. Dan is a serial entrepreneur with over 45 years of solid business experience, and his passion is helping entrepreneurs strengthen their companies by complementing their knowledge with his insights. The mentoring process that Dan uses enables you to increase profits and generate consistent growth through your business. If you've never had the pleasure of speaking with Dan, you're in for a real treat today. Again, Dan with LeTip of Arapahoe County, who is going to be presenting about AI for your business. So, Dan, without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Summer. I appreciate the kind introduction. It's good to see some old friends here and certainly many new ones that I've not met. So I would like to share my screen and take you through a little bit of information, certainly about me. As Summer indicated, I've been an entrepreneur for over 40 years, 10 years in corporate America before that. Our daughter had a baby with in vitro 5.5 years ago, and she lives in Denver. We live in Denver, and we moved in with her to help her because she travels extensively. And she overheard me on a conversation one time with a couple of different entrepreneurs, and she said to me, Dad, you want to monetize that? And my response was, monetize what? And she explained that what I had shared was not just everyday information, but really insightful information that I gleaned from these decades of experience. And I began coaching as a consequence of that. When ChatGPT came out in November of 2022 or so, I was fascinated with it and began using it for my own business, and then began to apply it to clients' needs that were appropriately addressed by AI. And I found something interesting, that scripting, the process of engaging with ChatGPT or any other AI platform, was not as obvious to many as it was to me. And I began to realize when one engages with an AI platform, the experience that you've had, not just with AI, but with business, really comes into play. And I began to realize that because of the 40 plus years or 50 years really of business experience, I knew what the next question was and how to advance the engagement with AI. As a consequence of that, I began to learn more about it. I've taken 3 courses on AI and how to apply it to business, and have become quite astute at doing that. So what I want to talk with you about today is AI from a very general, high-level perspective to begin, but then from a more specific, here's what you can use it for and how to use it in your business. So clearly, if you're not aware of it, you need to be. We are going through an AI revolution in business. It truly is the dawn of a new era. As evidence of that, here are some quotes from very high-powered people, many of you would know, that I think really tell the tale of what we can expect with AI in the future. The first is the most important technology of any lifetime. Another says AI is more important than discovery of fire and electricity. These are not run-of-the-mill business people. These are big-time professional business people and successful entrepreneurs like Mark Cuban, who says the amount of change we will see over the next 5 or 10 years will dwarf everything we have seen in the past 30 years. Or how about businesses that don't deploy AI and data to help them innovate in everything they do will be at a disadvantage? Or with regard to selling, generative AI gives us guidance that's so personal and precise. We're always presenting the most relevant solutions to our prospects, no pushing required. All strong evidence of the fact that AI has a huge role in your business, but it's not, as some believe, it's not about eliminating humans. Yes, some people will lose their jobs, only to find that many, many more jobs will open up because of AI. But it's about humanizing the digital experience. And the more you learn about AI, the more you realize how humanizing it is, how you can become more engaged with your clients and prospects and do that more effectively and efficiently because AI is there to support you in the background. So, from a very conceptual level, what I tell people about ChatGPT or any of the other platforms is when you engage with it, believe that you're talking with the most incredibly knowledgeable, incredibly intelligent person in the world, because to a great extent, you are. And when people often ask us, who would you like most to have a conversation with, living or dead? The answer ought to be AI, because AI can tell you what Einstein believed. He can tell you what Pope John Paul talked about, and any other person, any other thing that was ever on the internet is available to you, not only to be looked at, but to be analyzed and assessed through artificial intelligence. So I separate AI into three categories. Generative AI, which is the term we hear about all the time, is the kind of AI you can use to create new text, visual, and audio content. As examples of that would be ChatGPT. We've all heard about ChatGPT, maybe to the point where we're sick of hearing about it, but you may believe that that's the only AI platform that's generative AI, but it's not. There's Gemini, there's Claude, Poe, Pi, Ruby, and dozens of others that are examples of generative AI because you can engage with them and expect them to respond to your prompts in an appropriate and wise manner. They're not always going to be perfect by any means, and that's why you need to engage. When I was much younger, I started a consulting firm in in an area called decision support. Big time, big computers had come out, PCs had not. People believed prior to that that you can create linear programs, for example, that would solve your problems using computers. Decision support was the realization that that wasn't true, that computers support decisions you have to make. They give you insights to enable you as a manager or as an entrepreneur to make better decisions. Well, generative AI is the same. It will give you answers, sometimes not what you think you're going to get, and you often need to rethink the way you ask the question, but its purpose, its value is that you can continue to engage with it, asking, prompting, and getting responses that ultimately will address the issue you're intending to have addressed. There's also what I call embedded AI, and you see that in hundreds of platforms, tools like Hume that you can talk with online, and it will analyze and feed back to you the emotions that you're feeling. Or Chatbase, which you can use to create chatbots to put on your website or in other places. Dolly to create images, or OpenArt or Midjourney, all of which create images. They're using AI, they're using generative AI as the foundation, and they're focusing on particular areas. And I'm telling you, you would be astonished. You can get on one of these embedded AI tools and ask it to write a song for you and tell it the theme, give it as much information as you want to, and it will write a 2-minute song with music and lyrics that are very responsive. The things that it can do, AI can do, are amazing with these embedded AI platforms. And in addition, pretty much every popular app, Salesforce, Microsoft's products, Google, of course, has Gemini, embed AI in one way or another. There's a marketing platform that I use called Nowsite that uses AI to do all manners of incredible things, but it's ChatGPT. And the third, you've heard about GPTs or bots. Well, GPTs are actually AI-based apps. I'll give you an example. Let me move to ChatGPT itself. One of the areas my company focuses on is financial advisors. And we've created an application, a GPT, that is specific to that market. And it has to do with compliance issues that they, advisors, and many other industries need to comply with in order to be able to post and do things. So you simply open this application. Let me get all of this stuff out of the way. No, that's not where I want to be. Hold on. Explore GPTs. You'll also notice that you can create your own GPTs right here, clicking this create button, as simply as clicking it, and it will ask you questions that will then provide the basis for your GPT. So my GPTs, I have compliant for financial advisors. And when you initiate it, it asks which state's regulations do we want to comply with? Because the application, the GPT itself, is designed to look at federal regulations from FINRA and the SEC governing financial advisors. But there are also state regulations. So Colorado would be the state regs I wanted to look at. Provide the content. It says, thanks for specifying Colorado. I'll ensure that any contact reviewed or created aligns with Colorado regs in addition to FINRA and SEC. Please provide the content you'd like me to review. So I click here and we'll go to documents, state solutions. So here's some content that I created for my own purpose that is definitely not compliant with these regulations. So I just added in there where I could enter it. And it says, here is a review of that information. Here are some potential compliance issues, unsubstantiated claims, professional credentials, and so on. And it gives me recommendations on what I ought to think about doing. And then it says, because this is what we've trained it to do, would you like me to help revise the content to better align with these recommendations? And here it now recreates the content that I gave it that does not diminish hardly at all the promotional value, but instead gives heed to the compliance issues so that it is no longer non-compliant. And here it tells me what the adjustments are that it made. So that is an example of what a GPT looks like. And they're there for all manners of things, whatever individuals decide they want to create a bot for, to use internally or to make available to others. That's how you do it. And that's the concept that you would apply within whatever bots an individual creates. My company has an acronym called AI Reach, and it stands for A for automation, I for insights, R for risk. Imagine you're putting together a new product and you want to assess the risk. You can give it the information on the product. Among other things, it will do the risk assessment for you. Efficiency, agility, content, and compliance. and the H stands for humanization. These are all areas where you can apply ChatGPT or any of the other platforms to your advantage. So let me stop for a moment here. Oh, before we move into the use cases, and ask if you have any questions about anything I've shared so far. Okay. So whoopsie. I've created some ideas for you to think about on use cases that I want to demonstrate to you. I want to show you how ChatGPT, in this case, actually addresses a particular issue that's important to you. So take a look at these and just toss out any that you think might be applicable to your business, and we'll go into ChatGPT and show you what the prompting and how to do the prompting that you may not already be aware of. So anyone have in a particular area here or otherwise that you'd like to explore with AI?
If anyone has any questions, please utilize the raised hand feature so that we can see you easily.
Yeah, and I need to, oh darn it. I've got so many things on my screen that I'm having a problem.
I would say I did see somebody, and I don't know if you know exactly where to do it, that in ChatGPT you can kind of put in your description, your way of like maybe something that you address so it's easier for you to create content. Like it'll create the content around what you've already described for it to be like under your own personal like avatar, I guess. You know what I'm
Okay,
talking about? Kind of find
I
it in
do.
chat.
I do. Okay, well, let's I'll definitely do that. But you also mentioned something important too, and that's your avatar. How many of you are really confident that you know everything there is to know about your avatar, your ideal client? I sense that if you believe you do, you're probably wrong. Not because you're wrong in what you have, but because what you know is probably less than what AI is able to help you with. So let me drop back into Chat GPT and let's go to, and you see how often I use it. I mean, I've got all these different folders, and within it, a ton of different items. And then all of these, I just use it all the time. So let's go open a new GPT. And let's say, Maria, what business are you in?
Well, personally, I work for LeTip, so but I was learning about ChatGPT to help someone else in their business create content for their company. So we were talking about how you can do that and create that avatar.
Okay. Well, let's do a little bit of that. Let me use Ryan. I know what business Ryan's in because he's the president of the chapter I happen to be honored to be a part of.
Sure.
And Ryan is in the health business. He's a Shackley distributor. So let's say, first of all, you want to tell AI what you want it to be. So you are a psychological profiler who helps business owners understand more about their ideal clients. Please create a demographic psycho So fed it all kinds of information. So 25 to 45, some secondary would be 18 to 24, men and women. Middle to upper middle class, likely earning 50 to 120K. Occupation, here's the location, the psychographic profile, their motivations, their behavioral traits, spending habits, social influence, pain points, lifestyle, and it even gives me a marketing message. So let's say expand on number 6. So it gives you more specific information about the various pain points. So goes into how you can address the pain points, overwhelming choices, simplify the decision-making process by offering curated recommendations for workouts and Shaklee products, present clear evidence-based reasons, but see what their dreams and aspirations are, the dreams of my ideal client. There's a fellow named Blair Warren who has been doing marketing messaging for over 20 years. And he has a 27-word sentence that he says describes everything he knows about marketing messaging. And the 27-word sentence is, you can persuade anyone if you encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, or help them throw rocks at their enemies. Well, by encouraging their dreams, you know what through this the dreams are, and you can put together a message that allows you to encourage those dreams or justify their failures or allay their fears that their pain points will never be satisfied. So now to the specific messaging that you want to do, we can ask it knowing who that ideal client is. So put together an email campaign. So here will be 5 emails. The first encourages their dreams. Transform your fitness journey into a force for good. What if your fitness journey could be more than just achieving personal goals? Number 2, justify their failures. Setbacks are a part of the journey, and here's how they can empower you. We've all faced challenges that set us back. The idea comes from another author called Joe Vitale, who wrote a book called Buying Trances, buying like selling, trances like hypnotic trances. And he says everyone is in a trance all the time, whether they're thinking about the work they're doing, how they're going to pick up the kids on time, money to buy groceries, or whatever it is. We're all thinking about something. And when we send an email or post something, we want to move them from their trance to our buying trance. And we do that by a hook or something that causes them to move from their trance to think about what we want them to think about. So here are 5 different emails, one for each of the items that were mentioned. Now, please create. Now let's ask it to create some posts. So it even tells you what what you would want the video, the image or the video to be, and gives you the caption for each of them. And here's where things really get interesting with regard to these posts. Let me let it finish and then you can make it shorter, you can make it longer. Okay, you can say, so it'll rewrite it that way. The key to using any of these AI platforms is to continue to engage until you get to the actual answer you're seeking. So it's more humorous. A confident person giving a thumbs up with the text, small steps, big impact, no capes required, would be the image. Ever catch yourself thinking, can I really make a difference? Well, spoiler alert, you totally can. And guess what? You don't need to be a superhero with a cape to do it. Even the smallest actions, like choosing an apple over chips or hitting the gym instead of the snooze button, can create a ripple effect that reaches farther than you might think. Now let's take this video idea. Dolly is the least good of the image creators. There are others that are preferable for really high quality images like Midjourney or Open Art, which is the new image creation. Yeah, that's okay. But let's move to Chat GPT. Let's minimize this. Got so many things in the way here. Let's go to, and one of the other things to understand is which of the platforms to use for which purpose. So Poe happens to be better at writing content that's more relaxed, more casual than ChatGPT. So if that's what you want, then you would be able to go there. Gemini is than ChatGPT because its data is more current. So here are a couple of images. There's one that it's presented. There's another with the thumbs up. It doesn't do a really good job. Actually, it does a horrible job of putting text on images. They don't do that very well. Here's one that I created this morning, asking it to have a financial advisor that's in need of writing a job description and is frustrated trying to figure out how to do it. That's in anticipation of an event I have tomorrow, which is about that exact subject. All right, so let's go back here and let's talk about what else might make sense for you. Do you have any of you have any ideas from this list or of your own that you'd like me to produce for you? Okay. Well, fortunately, I have some of my own. So let's go back to, all right. So let's start a new one. And you can also train ChatGPT to be you, including your writing sample. So it has done that for me. So um, let's try this. This was kind of an interesting one. Summer, do you remember the core values of LeTip?
Of course, I remember the core values
Let's
of
hear them.
it.
And
So it is kindness, integrity, loyalty, passion, commitment, accountability, and excellence.
so I believe, and I know Summer believes because we've spoken about this, that culture is key to everything in any organization. And a set of core values, which of course we've just heard about LeTip, are essential to build the proper culture. Core values provide a North Star for people who are in the organization. So I believe that in interviewing people for a position, we need to ask them open-ended questions that are behaviorally or situationally oriented to not tell them about our values, but to learn about their values so we can determine how whether there is a fit. So here's a behavioral question. Tell me about a time when you went out of your way to help a colleague or customer. What motivated you to do that? And what was the outcome? The purpose, obviously, to evaluate the candidate's past actions and willingness to go above and beyond in helping others. Or imagine you're in a situation where a customer is upset and being rude to you without any apparent reason. How would you respond and what steps would you take to resolve the situation? All right. And there are as many as you want to use. I encourage my clients to create 5 behavioral and 5 situational questions for each core value, and then to pick at random 6 or 7 to incorporate into the interview process. So here's how AI can make that so much easier. So let's see, please give me an example of outstanding, okay, and poor responses to number 1 situational. So not only will it tell us what the questions are, but it will help us understand what the right responses would be. Now, you can do this, or you can tape the interview process and put the interview in and ask ChatGPT to analyze that and grade each of the responses. All right, so what's the outstanding one? First, I'd stay calm and avoid taking the customer's behavior personally. I'd listen carefully to understand their concerns. Comments like, I can see why you're upset, I'm here to help. Then I'd clarify the issue by open-ended questions and so on. My goal would be to turn the negative experience into a positive one by demonstrating that their concerns are being taken seriously and that I genuinely care about helping them. And it explains why this is an outstanding response. It shows the candidate's ability to remain calm, actively listen, empathize, and take steps to resolve the situation. Candidate also demonstrates a strong commitment to maintaining a positive tone and following up if necessary. All right, here's an okay response. I listen to the customer's complaints and try to understand what they're upset about. I'd apologize and offer to help to fix the issue. If I couldn't resolve it, I'd let them know what steps I take. Why is this okay? It covers the basics, but it lacks detail on how the candidate would manage their emotions or specifically ensure kindness through the interaction. A poor response, I try to stay polite, but if the customer is being really rude, I would just tell them that I can't help them if they don't calm down. That's an outstanding response. So this is why AI can be so useful. If AI can help you eliminate tasks that don't require your attention, then you can spend time doing what's most important for your job function, which often, as entrepreneurs, is working with our team, working with our clients, and working with our prospects. But with AI tools, things can be so much easier. Let me show you one final example. I coach entrepreneurs who are introverts on how to become outstanding sales. They already knows this about me. So this is something I do, but here's an 8-week course that it has created. Understanding your superpowers, building authentic relationships, crafting your personal sales strategy, leveraging storytelling and thought leadership, mastering the art of persuasion without pressure. Week 6, navigating networking as an introvert. And if I want to say on week 7, please provide more detail on number 7. It gives me more detail on the issues that the 7th week is about. Look at all of what it's going into. I want more detail. There's mindfulness techniques, cognitive behavioral strategies, stress reduction routines. Here's how to that's understanding your anxiety, root causes, identifying triggers, impact of anxiety on sales performance, building self-confidence. Look at all this stuff. Practical strategies for anxiety in the moment. And then it provides activities that you can incorporate. Now, I wouldn't use this as it is, but I'd sure as the world use it as a starting point for the course if I didn't already have one. And then it will build a post. And as you've seen, it can create 5-part, 3-part, 1 email campaign to introduce the course to others that you want to make aware of it. So that's a bit about AI and how it can be applied to your business. I will stop there.
Dan, that
And
was fantastic. And I think that you went through such great detail in showing us how the fluidity and the interactiveness, right? You don't just put in one thing, you can continue the conversation with AI, and you did a fantastic job. As you guys know, we're going to shut down the recording for Q&A, so please do stay on. But if anybody wants to follow up with Dan individually for further assistance, please, you can find him in Wired with at the LeTip of Arapahoe County chapter. Dan, thank you so much. We really appreciate this valuable information. Thank you for taking the time to share it with us.